Hello, everyone. I know it's been a long time, but I wanted to talk about some things that people usually say in the atheist community. You've probably heard it in the past, uh, but let's see. Right here, starting here, Josephus was born. So I'll read it and then I'll go through what I'm going to go through. All right, so Josephus was born in Jerusalem just a few years after the alleged resurrection of Jesus, at a time when apostles like Peter and Paul were allegedly healing people with their shadows and performing their outlandish miracles. And yet Josephus never mentioned Paul, Peter, or a single Christian miracle, even though they occurred in his backyard. Why? Because they were no miracles. All the miracles were made up after the destruction of Jerusalem when Christians scattered to the four winds. So, you've probably heard this before. I've heard it many times, including this time. But I want to focus on uh, the claim that, Josephus was born in Jerusalem and that these miracles happened in his backyard. Now, the miracles by Paul um, and Peter, why they may have happened in the backyard or figure of speech backyard, so what? So I was thinking about this when I read it, especially this time. I mean, something just clicked. You know, I live in a community, a development, and I have neighbors, and I live in a town of maybe 2 or 3 thousand people, and I know nothing about these people. Uh, there was a car crash and a house fire that I only knew because of Facebook. You know, we have a community group. So I think the issue is a lot of people, a lot of atheists don't put themselves, even Christians, we don't put ourselves in the shoes of people back 2,000 years ago. They didn't have, electricity or warning signs or text messages or phone. Everything was walking or riding a horse or a camel to give a message. So, like when the house burnt down, I didn't even know to look for it on Facebook until I heard sirens. But sirens that weren't a thing, so it's not like people can just go out in the community and ask, "What was that?" I saw something on Facebook. I heard a noise, a siren going. What happened? So, let's say the resurrection, or even Paul and Peter performing miracles, and some people saw them. It's not like those witnesses go out and tell everyone, or have the means to tell everyone. So, it wouldn't be surprising that Josephus didn't mention all the miracles, and a lot of them did not happen in his backyard either. Uh, but, I mean, some happened in Corinth, some happened in Philippi, which are thousands of miles away across mountains and ocean in some instances, especially when Josephus lived in Rome. Um, So here he was born around 37-38 AD and died in 800 AD. Paul was born in 4 BC and died in 62-64 CE or AD. So when Josephus moved to Rome and the destruction of Jerusalem happened in 70 AD, and then Josephus moved to Rome to spend his later years in life. So, as an example, since Paul died before the Jerusalem got destroyed, Josephus was probably still living near Jerusalem. And Paul was committing miracles in Philippi, which is over a day's drive away, 26 hours. That's 2,327 kilometers. So, while Paul and Peter did do miracles here and there in different locations, so what if Josephus didn't hear about these? You know how hard it is to hear about anything without using internet or telephones or megaphones or anything, radio? Like, just put yourself in their shoes. What would you know now if none of what we have existed? I mean, you wouldn't be able to see this. You wouldn't be able to look up things up and read articles written by people within a matter of seconds just by typing in a few words on Google. You'd have to walk thousands of miles or hundreds and thousands of miles and then talk to the right people who witnessed something to know what happened. So it's not surprising that Josephus did not mention the miracles, even during the resurrection, of the people who witnessed the resurrection and the zombies, as the guy, as I'm sure if you heard The Walking Dead, after the resurrection. It's not surprising that many people didn't write about it. Like I said, house fires that happen within a few blocks I don't even know about, because like I wouldn't know unless there was internet. So the argument to say that, how come no one else wrote about this if it was witnessed by this many people, or how come it didn't spread more to people who would write records? Well, because it would be hard to spread in the first place. It's amazing at what we have now. So this is on a Catholic website. I'm not a Catholic, but this mentions the 18 miracles of Apostles Peter and Paul from the Acts of the Apostles. And so it says the miracle, who did it, the place, and the passage. So I'll just scroll through these. So I don't know if you know how big Jerusalem is. I mean, I'm sure it's bigger than the community I live in. Maybe it's bigger than the community you live in, or not. But just think. How much do you know about your neighbors? I don't know much about any of my neighbors besides my next door neighbor. One of my next door neighbors. My other next door neighbor I know hardly anything about. And it's just, and let alone everyone else in my community, outside my development, in the town, inside the township and municipality, and even further, the neighboring townships. I don't know anything about anyone, no matter, maybe they've had amazing performances in school, maybe they specialize in athletics, they've committed what they think to be outstanding physical feats that would be newsworthy, but I don't know about it. I do know about some newsworthy things because I have the news, I have the internet, I have Facebook. But it's not surprising. I'm sorry, I don't know why this is so thin. But you know, like in Philippines, the Philippi, the Corinth, Paul did these miracles. Josephus wasn't there, and even if he was in the same vicinity or town or city, would he even have heard about it? If I witnessed something besides like a car accident or something and I call 911, if I had no way to call 911, then those people would probably be in more serious health issues, but no one would know. I would have to walk 10 miles to report it to anyone, because again, there's no phones, no phones, no text, no internet. Maybe like I don't have a horse or a camel. Maybe back then I would, maybe I wouldn't. Or I just have to keep it to myself, tell people who I cross in passing. But think about this, like if there was no cars or forms of travel or bridges readily available, I don't think I would even leave a 10-mile radius, really. I mean, I might, but generally the work would probably be within the limits of a short walk, maybe a 3-day walk one way. or horseback or camelback. It's you just have to put ourselves in their shoes. I think the argument saying, well, if it happened, why wasn't it reported on, is a weak argument considering the culture, the lack of advancement in technology. Is when people say that, they are completely missing the idea of what life is without electricity. But I just wanted to share that because I think that argument is weak and very easy to move aside, as in an unreasonable and illogical thought process. To say that if it happened, it should have been reported by many more people or written about, which again, not many people then were very literate, were able to write. But yeah, that's all I wanted to share. All right, toodles.